So specifically, what benefits are available? This is, again, benefits availability at their employer. This is not uptake. Uh, Health insurance, retirement savings, dental, vision, life, generally seeing the same between caregivers and non-caregivers in terms of availability. But when we get down to long-term care insurance and an emergency savings account, caregivers are less likely than non-caregivers to have these benefits available to them. Although it seems like they're likely to be pretty aware of, the aid that benefits like this could provide.
Yeah, and I think this is great data because this is not something that we've been able to cover in caregiving in the US in great detail in terms of the employee benefit, traditional employee benefits available. We do know that when, and I know you're going to cover this on the next slide, but when things like flexible work hours, paid sick days, paid family leave exist at a workplace, that caregivers are less likely to report work impacts like leaving early, having to take time off, all the way up through opting out of the workforce entirely, right? Retiring early or just taking a leave of absence, quitting your job. So those benefits really are beneficial, for lack of a better word, for caregivers, obviously all employees, but for caregivers especially, to reduce them opting out of the workforce and juggling those responsibilities.
And looking at leave benefits that are offered, again, caregiver satisfaction generally lower than non-caregiver satisfaction, and here we can see why. Caregivers less apt to be given or have access to paid maternity, paid paternity, paid caregiver leave, child care assistance, and elder care assistance.
Yeah, and we know that caregivers are more likely to be part-time, so that can explain some of the access to some of these benefits, Greg. But I think what's fascinating to me is this far in the middle ability to work from home. So, we fielded this study in the summer of 2023. And, we're, I guess, in this, I don't want to call it post-COVID age, but like we're living with COVID. But caregiving in the US 2020, the last time we had some data, was fielded in late 2019, pre-COVID. And I think maybe one of the silver linings that I'm seeing from this data is that at that time, only 25% of working caregivers reported they had the ability to telecommute or work from home. And so now we're seeing a doubling of that. And so perhaps this is the silver lining of COVID for caregivers, is that work flexibility has become more commonplace for some workers. Obviously, there's a difference by what kind of work people do. But I think that perhaps is allowing a little bit more flexibility. And obviously, I think it's brought the caregiving situation to light as well, another benefit of COVID.